All right, welcome to week 6. The last week we will be doing new material. We are going to be starting with exact square roots, and the first couple videos in this week we are going to be doing kind of short snippets, and then we kind of get into more of the meat of the week, and then before you know it, it's over, and really the course is over and we are reviewing for the final. So here we go. Exact square root. So I'm going to leave a little bit of room, a little bit of blank space over here on the right, because we've talked about these numbers a couple times, but we didn't really define them. And if you are looking at that multiplication chart, I talked about it in that video. If you look it down the diagonal, these are your perfect square numbers. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, and 225 is really the last one you should have memorized. Anything else you would, have access to in the form of a chart or whatever, or you have tools to figure them out. So a couple things. If there's nothing in front of the square root, like in number 1, they want the positive number. So, and if there's a negative, like in number 2, they want the negative value. It's very important that that negative is outside of the square root. As soon as you have a negative inside the square root, it's actually a no real solution answer, and that is something that you will not see in this class. All right, so what this really means, and on the multiplication chart, you see that that diagonal, if you look either to above or to the left of that diagonal number, you will see that it has that number that it simplifies to. 1 goes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, and yes, that is a pattern. All right, there's a reason for that. So if you look, the square root of 16 is 4. All right, we want the negative number. The square root of 36 is 6. What that means is that number times itself will give you the number that's in the square root. So 4 times 4 gives you 16. 6 times 6 gives you 36. This one, when it's a fraction, we just take the square of the top and the square of the bottom. So we could say that this is really the same thing as this. All right, the square root of 64 is 8. The square root of 121 is 11. We always want to check to make sure we can't simplify further, which we can't, so we're done. Now, this next one, the square root of 625 is 25. So with that decimal, all it does is add a decimal in front of it. So it's actually the 0.25 is our answer, because 0.25 times 0.25 gives us 0.625. All right, well, 400, we didn't get to it on our listed, our list that we made by memorization. That is 20 times 20, which you could get from your multiplication chart, which is that. Here, same thing, square root of 1 on top, square root of 361 on the bottom. When I say same thing, I mean in number 3, where you can give the square root to the top, square root to the bottom. We want the negative answer because the negative's out in front. Square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 361, I believe, is 19. Yes, it is. So we get 19, or negative 1 over 19. All right, number 7. You can simplify before, but what happens if you simplify before, you might not end up with perfect squares, and we are not going there right now, and it makes your life more difficult. So you want to stick with, if you have a perfect square, simplify when you can using that. So we get 15 on the top, 10 on the bottom. Both of those are divisible by 5, so we get 3 over 2. And then number 8, that is going to be negative 30. 30 times 30 gets me 900. And I'm all done. All right, next we'll go into estimating, and I'll see you back here for that.